What's up, Entourage? It's your man Dan here. Now, some of you guys out there have gaming laptops that you absolutely love, and while they would fit in perfectly at a LAN party, it might not fit in so great at, let's say, school, or in your office, or even in your local Starbucks, because sometimes gaming laptops use really gaudy and loud design choices. Maybe you think it could be a huge turnoff to the ladies, or to the men. Although in my case, it's definitely not the laptop's fault. Also, gaming laptops tend to have poor battery life due to more powerful hardware, and also because of the powerful hardware, they tend to be louder because the fans need to work harder to dissipate the heat. So today we're going to talk about how to professionalize our laptop, or in other words, how to make it look better, last longer, and less noisy. Alright, so for this I'm going to be using my trusty Razer Blade 15. By the way, if you want to see my review of it, go ahead and click the link here. Making a laptop look nice isn't all that difficult. You just have to wrap it up. Find a skin for it if you can. My favorite skin brand is dbrand.com. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But you can also look on Amazon or eBay. If you can't find a skin, maybe consider a hard case. That adds protection as well. And if you can't find either of those because your laptop is a little less mainstream, then maybe what you could do is you could find a vinyl, and you could look on Etsy for things like that and go ahead and stick it on top of that logo, and it adds a little bit of uniqueness because you can pick something that means something or is cool to you while also covering up those loud, gaudy design choices from the manufacturers. So how do you make your laptop last longer and less noisy? This is starting to sound like a tutorial on how to have sexy time. Wrap it up, last longer, less noisy. Anyways, back on track. Now to get your laptop to last longer and be less noisy, you're gonna have to turn the power down on your CPU just a tiny bit. Now I know that that's kind of a turnoff to some of you out there, but consider this. Once you plug the laptop back in, you'll be at 100% power. You can fully utilize that CPU. And also think about it. When you're on battery, what are you really using your laptop for? It's usually for things like word processing, maybe some Excel sheets for work, or watching YouTube videos or surfing the web. Nothing that requires a ton of power. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up a web browser, and we're going to go ahead and search our CPU. Now, if you don't know what CPU you have, you can always go to that home and then type in system and click system information. And right here on the right where it says processor, you can find the name of your CPU. In my case, I have the i7-8750H. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and type in i7-8750H. And this first link should be from a site called arc.intel. You click that and you want to look specifically for your base frequency and your turbo frequency. And we'll come back to that in just a minute. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to leave this tab open. You want to open another tab and search for throttle stop. And the first link you should see here is from techpowerup.com. Go ahead and click that, download it, pick the server closest to you, go ahead and open it, unzip it. And with that, you go ahead and open the application. Now, it's going to pop up a warning that says, hey, this could harm your device. But here's the thing, what we're doing today, nothing can harm your device because all we're doing is we're limiting the power. We're not increasing the power. If you increase the power, there's a real chance you could hurt your hardware. But with what we're doing, nothing should hurt your hardware. So go ahead and hit OK. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click options. And you see here profile names. This each correlates with a number. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. For our purposes, we're only going to use the first two. So AC and battery, I'm going to name it those two. These 3 and 4, I'm going to erase. When you're more familiar, you can go ahead and tweak this to your liking, but for now, we're going to do that. Then we're going to enable these profiles here. AC profile is going to correlate with AC1, and battery profile is going to correlate with 2, because this is 2 here. You can go ahead and click start minimize as well. That'll make sure that this starts down here as opposed to being up here. And then we'll hit OK. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit Fiverr, F-I-V-R. Now, you see how there's 1, 2, 3, 4? This correlates with those profiles we just set. 1 is AC, 2 is battery. So for AC, we're not going to touch anything because when we're in AC mode or plugged in, we want the computer to run at full power. However, when we're on battery, we want to go ahead and make some changes here, particularly here. This is talking about the clock speeds of our CPU. Now, you see how it says 41 here? Well, if you look, it's saying that our max turbo frequency, our max CPU clock speed for one core is 4.1. So what we're going to do is we're going to reduce this by about 20%. So we're going to go ahead and open the calculator. We're going to go ahead and take that 4.1, multiply it by 80% or 0.8. And that's going to get me about 3.28. I'm going to round down. And again, I have to be in battery mode because it's saying when you're on battery mode, this entire profile is going to activate. So what we're going to do is hit battery, make sure we're on battery here. And we're going to go ahead and change all these cores down to 3.2 or 3.2. Then we're going to hit apply, OK. Then we're going to hit turn on and save. Now, watch what happens. This is CPU ID. This monitors my everything, essentially. And if you look here, look at my clock speeds. Right now it's running as freely as it wants, right? Full power, because my laptop is plugged in. Now watch what happens when I unplug it. So I just went ahead and unplugged it here. And I'm gonna go ahead and reset the min-max so you guys can see that right now my clock isn't exceeding that 3.2 that we set. You see it got really close at 3094 at 3.1, but it's not going to exceed that 3.2 anymore. Now watch what happens when I plug the laptop back in. When I plug it back in, now watch my CPU speeds. You see how they go back up to 383491, and so there you have it. Now, this is not going to open every time we start Windows, and we don't want to have to open it manually. So what we can do is go ahead and hit that home button, type in task scheduler, and we're going to create a new task every time our device turns on. We're going to go ahead and create a task here, and we're going to call it throttle stop. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and for triggers, hit new, begin the task, and we're going to say at log on, whenever we log on for any user, enabled, hit OK. What's the action? Well, we're going to go ahead and start a program. We're going to browse, make sure you find where you downloaded throttle stop to, and we're going to go ahead and open throttle stop here, hit OK. Conditions, you see this here, you want to make sure you unclick this because you don't want to start it only if your computer is in AC power. You want to start it no matter what as soon as you log on, so make sure you unclick those. Then stop the task if it runs longer than 3 days. No, we don't care because sometimes we'll have our laptop on sleeping all the time. And we're going to go ahead and OK, and we'll go ahead and exit. Doing this alone should increase your laptop's battery significantly, but if you want to squeeze out the last bit of juice your battery has to offer, you could also do something called undervolting. Basically, your laptop is set for your battery to provide more power to your CPU than is necessary, because consider this, if your CPU doesn't get the juice that it needs, then your laptop will shut off or BSOD, blue screen of death. What undervolting does is provides the least amount of juice to your CPU to make sure that your laptop can stay running without BSODing or crashing. Undervolting varies from CPU to CPU, so I'll show you how to do it, but I won't show you the numbers to use. To do that, I highly recommend you Google your CPU and then the word undervolt and see what people have to say. For undervolting, we're going to go ahead and open throttle stop, and we're going to go to Fiber. And here, the focus of our attention is going to be here under Fiber Control. Again, we're not going to alter our AC because we want maximum power, although you could change the undervolt here to reduce heat and things like that. If you want to know more about that, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, but that's not in the scope of this video. Instead, we're going to click the battery profile, and we're going to go ahead and adjust this voltage. So this is what it looks like on default. We're going to go ahead and click, make sure we're on CPU core, click unlock adjustable voltage, and we're going to go ahead and mess with this offset voltage here. do not go above 0. Above 0 would mean that you want more power to your CPU, and that's what could potentially harm your hardware. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to undervolt, go below, reduce the amount of power going to that CPU. This is where your research comes in about what your CPU generally undervolts at, the range of it. In my case, for the i8750H, I know that I can reduce it to about negative 120.1. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click OK Save Voltages after throttle stop exits. Hit apply, hit OK, and watch what happens. You see here the IA offset. Right now it's at 0000. And the reason why is because I have my laptop plugged in. So remember, we didn't change the offset when it was plugged in. But if I unplug it, watch what happens. You see right here, it just changed. The value changed to negative 0.123, which correlates with that negative 120 offset that we did. All right, there you guys have it. Post your results in the comments below. Also, shout out to Maddox, who encouraged me to make this video. If you guys have something that you'd like to see, make sure you post that in the comments as well, because I read every single one of them and I'll address it and I'll respond as soon as I can. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit that bell, and until next time guys, stay honest. Wrap it up, last longer, less noisy, less noisy.